Hello and welcome back to Wide Angle. Atul, you were gesticulating with great passion and you were saying some aside, sharing an aside with General Hasnain. What was that?
What I was saying was that not only the military, which is extremely important, you have to keep those contacts. I was also thinking that many of people who retire, they are extremely valuable sources for the future. Now we don't have any institutional mechanism to deploy whatever their experiences are for crisis management. I think that's one resource which is just getting drained away and being lost. So that must be arrested. Second thing which I was talking to him was specifically about, let's say, students, another level. You talked about the students in Najaf. Now many of these students come over here and go back to their countries, but we don't keep track of them. I think our alumni organizations need to be activated so that we have to keep constant touch with them. And this has to be done in a very professional and a very systematic manner. And there can't be ad hocism over there. So the earlier part which you discussed about
there are other assets. This is the time to look at the assets that we have chosen not to look at. For instance, wherever you go in Africa, when we also had a peacekeeping troops in Sierra Leone. In Sierra Leone, when you went there, you in fact went to Guyana, Guinea,
Conakry,
Guinea. You went to Guinea, which was French-speaking, Francophonie. Now, in Guinea, there was one Sindhi businessman.
Exactly.
Who was your only contact. Sure. Without him, our troops couldn't get there. He used to buy us the tickets, how to get past, how to be secure. You went to Azerbaijan. You had businessmen there. All these assets, these are our assets. And we have chosen not to use them. And they are available. They are sometimes they're very homesick. They meet an Indian and they say, oh, come on, of course we'll do this for you. You were saying something? Yes?
Let me come in on this aspect. I think something which has not been considered is this whole concept of social media. The world has moved on. Twitter, Facebook, so many other things. I remember I was in Rwanda, the area which you referred to. I was there in the middle of the war. And I was a part of the Indian Military Observer Group. In fact, I was leading the Indian Military Observer Group in Rwanda. We had contacts. In Kigali itself, in fact, I was north of Kigali in a place called Gitarama, I still remember. And we had 18 of our observers. All of them were in different areas and they had their contacts alive in all these places. This similar example can be played out anywhere in Africa. Many places we've had our UN observer teams as such.
Southern Sudan?
That's right, absolutely. Now, the problem is the archaic rules of security today. Something which we've been refusing to look at. They demand that the moment an officer comes back from a foreign assignment, he must immediately detach himself, have no contact at all. Now, I think this has something which has to be done away with. We need to retain these contacts. We need to, as very correctly brought out, have these alumni organizations, of which officers must remain a part. It's not only the army. It is the administrative services and diverse other organizations who are going into various training programs around the world, who are establishing these contacts. Yes. This is a world of social media, and I think we have just not looked at it pragmatically.
Another hobby horse of mine, Atul, if you will give me 1 minute and tell me, and I would love you to endorse me on that. We are the biggest democracy in all of these regions. Not China, not Iran, not any one of these countries in West Asia, nowhere. We are the big democracy. Should we not have a media? Should we not have our journalists? Should we not have our own bureaus covering events in West Asia, covering events in Ukraine, covering events wherever there's a crisis? How long will a big country like India depend on my wonderful colleagues in BBC and CNN? They're all my colleagues, but they have their own eyes on those issues. We will bring Indian eyes on Indian perspective, and I have a feeling that, and I would urge the government, in fact, to think very quickly on setting up an independent, not a government media, an independent public service media which is Indian eyes and ears on the world.
We have regressed on this. There was a time when All India Radio was operating from Tehran as well as from Damascus. and we have closed all those offices, and that has happened because at the time we had a larger geopolitical vision. Now, unfortunately, people even in places of power
Yeah.
do not
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
that
Yes.
our interests spread right from Southeast Asia to at least to the Suez Canal, and there are these energy-rich hubs which are coming in the
Yes,
way.
yes, yes.
Malacca Strait, they are choke points. Now, we need to consider our interests in a wider perspective, and accordingly fashion our policy to ensure that there is no instability in all these areas.
Correct.
Which will have direct, and that's where the media comes in.
Atul, time has run out. This is a moment of celebrating. Our nurses are back from Iraq, and this has given us an opportunity to look back on what we can do in the future and how we managed the great escape for these girls. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and goodbye.